It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. This will be me drinking a beer from Black Sheep Brewery. Not necessarily reviewing it, but I will talk about the beer as I'm drinking it, I suppose. But this is more a video about my concerns for the industry, my concerns for brewing in the UK in 2025, and I'm recording this in December, going forward into 2026. I heard the news 2 days ago that Keystone have gone into administration. Now, some of you might be asking, what's the concern? Who are Keystone? Sadly, Keystone own companies, breweries like Purity Brewing Company, who produce some fantastic beer. Some of their lagers are great. Their Mad Goose is a great beer. Magic Rock Brewing Company, which back in 2012 I went up to in Huddersfield and had a wonderful weekend there. Toured the brewery when it first opened, drank some fantastic beer. Some of you might say, well, Magic Rock are not what they were. You're probably right. As of 2024, 2025, their beers sadly went downhill. And Black Sheep Brewery, which we have today, I managed to pick up. I say managed to pick up. This is a 3.8% ABV best bitter. Is that I couldn't find any of the beers. This has been sort of coming for a while, I think. I went to Morrison's, Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury's. I couldn't find anything from Magic Rock. And now you've got to think, only 2 years ago, Magic Rock in the supermarkets was everywhere. Their Cannonball was in Morrison's, their sort of IPA at 7% ABV was in Morrison's, and it was tasting okay. But I couldn't find anything. The only beer, and I searched for 2 or 3 hours yesterday, the only beer that I could find on the supermarket shelves from any of the companies from Keystone was Black Sheep Bitter, and this was reduced in Morrison's. So let's get this out into a glass, see what we get. It's December 2025. I've probably already mentioned this, but my big concern is 2026. It really is. It really is. I've noticed a step change on the channel since April this year, so the last 8 months. I used to have lots of conversation with breweries, lots of emails, lots of fun as well with people I know in the industry. And since around April and May, the conversation that I have with breweries, it become less fun and it become more serious. So I picked up the phone yesterday, fresh off the back of not being able to find any of these beers in the supermarket, and I rang a couple of my brewery owner friends and somebody in the industry I had an email conversation with regarding the industry as a whole. And in that email exchange was, and I'm surprised because the person I'm talking about doesn't own a brewery. He's a leading figure in UK beer, and his response was, because I floated the idea, I said, look, you see these companies, they go into administration, they get bought out for £1. I said, what's the deal there now? And I spoke to a few breweries about this yesterday. What's the deal with that then, where you buy a brewery from administration for £1? And because I was thinking to myself, is there anything that I can do? Anything that I can do to save? Because if you look at Black Sheep Brewery have 60 employees. Purity have a good few employees. Magic Rock probably have 40, 50 plus employees. That's a lot of jobs. And the jobs are important, and the people are the most important in it, but also the liquid. the liquid's important as well, because you're losing knowledge. When people leave the brewing industry, they probably never come back. So what we're faced with is that the person who knows how to brew this beer in the glass, and it looks wonderful, by the way, may move into another industry and take all of that creativity and experience with him and never come back. So the person I spoke to yesterday in the email said, I would not look to own a brewery in the UK right now in my wildest dreams. That was his response to the email. And that's scary, isn't it? That's scary when a leading figure in the industry who knows brewing inside out says, I would not touch a brewery in 2025 or 2026 with the current climate. Let's take a sip of this beer. This might be the last time I drink Black Sheep Brewery beer ever. So I'm going to savour this moment. It's okay. It's okay. It's never going to be the best beer in the world. But in this moment, it's okay. It's okay. It's a bit biscuity, it's a bit bready. There's a little bit of a bitterness on the back end. It's 3.8% ABV. So the fear is 2026. What's going to happen? Because I remember the start of 2025 when Adnams put out this, it wasn't quite a profit warning, it was they hired a company to come in and have a look at their profitability to see how they were, and everybody sort of went, oh no, Adnams are next. And this is where we're sitting. So I phoned a few brewery owners yesterday and they all came back with the same thing. If they can survive the winter, they will be happy. One of the breweries I rang relies on tourism in West Wales. So people go on holiday from April all the way to October. They go down to West Wales, in their droves, they drink lots of his beer. So his answer was, if I can get through the winter. Now this brewery owner has 50 years experience in brewing, maybe 60 years brewing experience, and he's telling me that he needs to try and survive the winter. It's such... My anxiety levels, I never talk about anxiety and mild depression or anything like that, or I never talk about my feelings on the channel. I never talk about sort of me and my headspace and everything, but I'm really anxious. I don't think I've been more anxious than this in the brewing industry, being involved in the brewing industry. National insurance has gone up, our taxes have gone up, hospitality. Now this is the other thing. The brewery owners were telling me hospitality is being hit from pillar to post. It's almost as if, and I don't want to make this up, because you could put any people in charge now, and I think they would struggle to turn around the ship that is Britain in its current state. And I'm not talking about any of the parties, and I'm just talking about the city. You can all see it for yourselves when you walk out into the streets and you see how things are. My high street in Barry is on its knees. It's on its knees. The Wilkinson that closed down about 3 years ago has been bought by the council because nobody wanted it, and they're going to try their very best because everything else is shut down there. There's barely anything open. They're going to try and introduce market stalls inside this Wilkinson's, and they're going to try and turn around the town centre. it's a desperate situation, and that's the word probably, a desperate situation. And unfortunately, when you have to go to a supermarket and buy milk that was once £1 for 4 pints and is now £2, £2.50, all of a sudden, and that's just one product, cereals, foods, when you're putting stuff in your trolley and you're spending £100 a week, maybe £150 a week on your shopping, then the first thing you do is pull back on your sort of, let's call it, luxury items. So you pull back from those nice 4 bottles or 4 cans of craft beer that you have on a Friday night. That's probably one of the first things, unfortunately, that gets kicked into the gutter. And that's what all of the breweries are facing. That's what all of the breweries are facing. We're in a situation where we had a wonderful, and I was really overly happy to be involved in it, and I sort of grew myself with it. The boom of craft beer. The boom of craft beer was a wonderful thing. It really was. To see breweries open and then grow. If you think of companies like Tiny Rebel, where they were brewing in their garage, and then the next thing you know, they have a great big American-sized brewery. Northern Monk and Brewdog, and Brewdog. You can say what you like about Brewdog, but they're probably trying to make money too, aren't they? These companies that flourished, and there was a big hope. And this is probably the next thing I need to get out. It's almost like a perfect storm. It's almost like a perfect storm of problems in craft beer. Because the other side of things is that those breweries that once brewed in their garage and had massive passion about maybe one day knocking Heineken off its perch. If you look at Brewdog kind of become if you think Brewdog's Punk IPA is the same as it was when it was first brewed in 2010, good luck to you. But I don't think it's the same beer. I think that beer has been changed. It was 6% ABV. It's dropped all the way down to about 5.4% ABV now. It's not the same IPA that it was. So you have that perfect storm of cost of living, prices going up, beer going up in price, and then breweries that you were once really passionate about, your Tiny Rebels, your Brewdogs, the Northern Monks, who you sort of were waving a flag for them. You were sort of like waving this flag of enthusiasm to only then see their beer slowly become, let's be honest, not as great as it was. Then sadly, the inevitable is going to happen is in that people will move on. People will move on to something else. And you could call it fickle. You could, if you wanted to. You could write a comment right now in the comments box and say it's a really fickle thing. The people who were once really craft beer enthusiasts that were really interested in craft beer have now moved on to maybe wine or gin or posh whiskies, because they won't just stop drinking. They'll drink something. It's that situation of price has gone up. Some of the breweries in the supermarkets, the quality has gone down. And then we're left in this perfect storm of people who used to buy craft beer at £3.50 a can are not buying it anymore. But that leaves me to 2026, doesn't it? Where do I see beer in 2026? Well, I mentioned earlier on, from about April this year, I've noticed a big change in my channel, because those people who were once drinking craft beer, maybe, just maybe, watching one of my videos while they drank the craft beer. They're not there anymore. They're not there anymore. They've disappeared to whiskey and wine and whatnot. I'm not standing here saying 2026 I'm going to turn this channel into a wine drinking or a whiskey drinking channel or something like that, because I simply don't like whiskey and I simply don't like wine. But it's the reason why I introduce food to the channel. It's the reason why I eat McDonald's, and it's the reason why I eat Burger King and KFC, and it's purely to survive. Purely to survive. I would much rather be standing here with a wonderful craft beer than chucking a McDonald's Big Mac down my neck, you know? Having to walk 6 miles to burn the damn thing off. Sadly, and again, just speaking to breweries yesterday, Christmas trade is not great. A lot of companies who own shops and who own businesses and who are forward-facing sort of breweries and whatnot make all of their money this time of year. From October to November to December, they make all of their money for the year. And my conversation with breweries yesterday was that they are going to miss their Christmas targets by a lot. And they don't know where they're going to be in 2026. I don't want to stand here because I did see a couple of social media, people seem to ride the wave, don't they, of negativity. People, there was a Twitter handle, X handle, earlier on in the year that suggested that no brewery was safe, and I was highly critical of that. Because I don't want to be the one, and I don't think anybody should be the one chucking logs on the fire, you know, or added petrol on the fire to create more problems. I don't think anybody should do that, and I don't think anybody should ride that wagon or ride that wave of negativity. What I will do is stand here and say that I am concerned. I am concerned for 2026. I don't know. I really, for the first time in 8 years on this channel, I don't know what's going to happen next year. I have no idea. This video, I might be watching this video back in a year's time. It might have been a complete bloodbath, or it might be the fact that everybody's still hanging on by their fingernails and everybody's still like, you know, I'm not giving up my brewery type of thing, which, you know, there's a lot of fight in all of us, isn't there? There's a lot of fight in all of us. But I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't know what's going to happen. I think, as I mentioned earlier, hospitality is being hit left, right and centre. Every now and again you might get a budget where they say, oh, we've knocked a penny off a pint. And I think that was 2024's budget, wasn't it, where they said, oh, we knocked a penny off a pint. But at the same time, we've knocked national insurance up, which has wiped that penny off the pint anyway. And more, really. You hear stories now. You hear stories of people paying £8 a pint in a pub. And when I say £8 a pint, some people are paying £8 a pint for a pint of Heineken, and you're thinking to yourself, what? £8 a pint for Heineken? How is that even like? And this is the thing. I've wife, 3 kids. They're all right. They're grown up now, but there was a time where they were 3 kids, and you would go out. And years ago, I remember back in the 90s, you would just go out. You wouldn't really think about like you know. You wouldn't think about, well, how much. You might think about it a little bit, but you never thought that by going out for a meal on a Wednesday night, that your wallet would take a massive pounding. And I think the situation is now is if Me and my wife, never mind the kids. Never mind the kids. If me and my wife went out for a meal and a few drinks, my beer's £8 a pint. Her wine or whatever she's drinking is I don't know. I buy the bottle for her because it's cheaper. What bottle of wine in a pub these days? 15 quid. You know, you're walking away like you might have spent. I'll drink 6 pints in a pub all day long. You might have spent over 100 quid. And it's kind of like, this is the problems we're all facing. This is the problems we're all facing. And sadly, the breweries are facing the biggest problem. They're facing the biggest problem. So, Keystone have gone into administration. I'd love to see somebody come in and save the likes of Magic Rock and Black Sheep, Purity, because I think North Brewing Company, they make wonderful beers. They really do. They make wonderful, wonderful beers. And of course, it's the people as well. Those employees who work at the breweries that really need their job saving, don't they? I don't know if you're still watching. I don't know if this video's made any sense to anybody who's watched the video. It could have been just me standing here talking about my problems and real world problems and stuff for the last however long I've been filming this video. The doorbell's knocked and I've had to press pause a couple of times. So yeah, for the future, let's try and hold on to some hope. Let's try and hold on to something. And if any breweries out there are watching, please try and hang on. Please try and hang on, because we all love you. Whoever's left in the industry, we all love you. We all care. We all want to drink your beer. And we want to carry on with these traditions of Britain. When you think of Britain, you think of brilliant beer, don't you? You think of brilliant real ales and best bitters and premium ales and craft beers. We are a creative lot of people. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe. Boom. Cheers.